This is video 9 of creating a graphical user interface, and we left off with finishing off the program by explaining how the exit button works. So when I click the exit button, basically what I want to do is I want to take this form and simply close it. So to do that, all I have to do is I want to code the button called exit. Now we know if we double click it, the computer will then create an event handler for click for close. So if I double click this, it should open it up, but because it's not working because I'm actually compiling, I have to stop the debugger. So let's stop that first and then go in and click on exit. And there we go. When I click the exit button, what do I want it to do? All I want exit to do is simply close. So the command is, I can simply type in close. Now when I type in close, you'll see it's a little purple three-dimensional little box here, which represents a method. That means that it's going to do something, and all methods have a bracket like this. So all I want to do is say close the current form that I'm on, and that's it. That's how you create or code an exit button. So when I start my program, let's test it out, and let's test out all the components. I like to test this again. If you remember the debug cycle, we're actually looking to make sure we have correct syntax, and we're also now testing the program for any logical errors. So we're coming to the end of our development life cycle in doing this. So from there, let's go back in and see if it works. So hello world 1 and 2, this works. I click meow meow, works, great. Clear the screen, start again. If I click exit, it stops the program from running. So we're back, and our program is pretty much complete at this stage. Is it exactly the same as the design here? Well, the design is slightly different. If you look at them side by side, let me just do them side by side here. Of course, they're different sizes and they might be located differently, and for my purpose all that is fine. In fact, if you guys want to come up with different words and that kind of stuff in the design, that's great. It has no real bearing on the functionality. If you want to call this hello world there instead of meow meow, that's fine, those types of things. But the functionality should work as the original in-class exercise does here. All right, so from there, we may want to go back and look at our actual code, and it's cleaning up the code. And this is something I'm going to insist that everybody does, and that is document what you're doing. So documentation requires you to go in and above your statements is type in what that statement does for later use that you understand. So you could say here, this will turn off the label control from view, or turn on, sorry, turn on the label control from view. Because when I click on the event handler, I want to make that label control visible, make it true. So basically, I'm just writing out maybe pseudocode or an explanation of what that particular line does. And in the early days of coding, it's always good practice to do that. So you could write one line of code to explain what this does as well. So this will turn on the hello world message, something like that, something that will make sense to you or to some other programmer in the future. And you don't have to put in a semicolon in here because it's not required, because this line, the two dashes here, basically means ignore anything on that line. There's another syntax we can use called a /*, which means ignore everything from this point forward until you put in another */. So that kind of like bookends, or like almost like a tag, blocks everything off like that. For one line, I tend to just use the two // is fine for that. And then from there, we want to package it all up, and we want to test it. And again, you're going to run this and make sure everything works. Something else that you might want to do is go into the back end and actually see it in the file structure. So here I am at my file structure, and I can open up the folders and execute that file directly. All right, that concludes, and I'll see you guys in class.